So today we are going to be discussing some linear equation word problems. So we have 4 different kinds of word problems. We have slope-intercept, standard form, then we have point-slope, and when we are given 2 points. So I will show you how we can find an equation and then also how we can solve that equation with the information that we're given. So I'm going to highlight a few things, so if you have any highlighters, I would probably highlight your notes as well. So for slope-intercept, when we start, this is when we're given a rate of change, which we can also call slope. So m is always our slope. Okay, and then we're also given a starting point, which is our b. And we know that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read through number 1, and I am going to highlight my slope in blue, so my blue highlighter, and then my starting point for b I'm going to highlight with pink. So, on number 1, you and your friends plan to attend the county fair this weekend. The admission to the fair is $5 and the cost per ride is 50 cents. If your parents gave you $20, write and solve a linear equation to find how many rides you can go on. So some of you may just look at this equation and say, oh, I have $20. To get in, it's $5. So I'm left with 15. So 50 cents, how many 50 cents can I get out of $15? Well, we can look at, we know that our starting point is going to be $5. We know we're going to spend $5. Okay? Then we know that we have $20. So that I'm just going to highlight in yellow because we know that that's going to be our total that we have. And then our rate of change that we have is going to be this 50 cents. Okay? So when we're given all these numbers, then we know that we're going to use all of these numbers. So to write our equation, we're just going to set it up like a slope-intercept equation. So our y is going to be our end point. So we are looking for x in this equation, which is going to be how many rides we can go on. So I'm going to set it up like y equals mx plus b. So my starting point is b, so it's $5. My total that I can spend is $20. So I'm just going to say 20 equals, so my rate of change, 50 cents. So I don't know how many rides I can go on yet. Okay, so x is going to be our number of rides. Okay, and we are starting with having to pay $5. Okay? So, when we know that we only have $20, say we didn't know how much money we had. Okay? We would still use this equation. We would just not have $20. So if we graphed it, we could see if we had this amount of money, then this is how many rides we could go on. So then we're just going to solve it for x. Okay, so we end up subtracting $5 from both sides. So then we will end up with 15 equals 0.50x. So plug that into your calculator or do it in your head. X equals 30. So that means that we can go on 30 rides. Alright, so that is a slope-intercept one. Okay, so I'm going to go down to the bottom of the page and I'm just going to do a standard form example. So with my standard form, so we know that standard form, that's going to be ax plus by equals c. And we use our standard form equation when the problem relates two different objects. Alright, So same thing, I'm just going to look through my equation and I'm going to I'm going to highlight some of our information that we have. So Sam ordered 2 tacos and 3 enchiladas. So we're going to look at those. Those are our 2 different things that we have, our 2 different objects. Okay? So his total bill was $20, which I will put in yellow. And we know that enchiladas were $2 each. So, enchiladas, $2 each. Okay? So, now we need to write and solve an equation to find the cost of each taco. So, we're going to let x equal tacos, and y is going to equal enchiladas. Okay, so then we're just going to set up an equation. So we know that he paid $7.80, okay, and we know that he got 2 tacos and 3 enchiladas. So our number of tacos we have 2x, our number of enchiladas 3y, so plus 3y is going to end up equaling $7.80. Okay, so we know how much enchiladas were a piece. So we can plug that information into our equation. Okay, so I'm still solving for how much the tacos were. So plus 3 times 2 is going to equal $7.80. Okay, so I end up with 2x plus 6 equals $7.80. So then I'll just subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, so I end up with 2x equals $1.80. And then if I just divide by 2, I end up with x equals 90 cents. So each taco is going to be 90 cents. That's what that means. Alright, so now I'm going to do one of the point slope examples. So point slope. Alright, so point slope, we are going to use this when, turn the page. So point slope. We know what point slope looks like. We have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? So we're going to use this when we are given a sample point. So we're going to use xy. And then also when we're given a rate of change. Again, rate of change, another word for slope. Okay? So, I'm going to do number 9. So, at Eagle Bay, it costs $10 per hour to rent a canoe. Alright, so let me go ahead and highlight that. So, $10 an hour. Okay, $10 an hour to rent a canoe. Nick and his friends rented a canoe for 3 hours. So, 3 hours. And they paid $45. So this is our information that we're given. So now we need to write and solve a linear equation to find the cost to rent the canoe for 8 hours. So once we create our equation, then we're going to go back and we're going to plug in 8 hours and find out how much money that would cost. So over here I can say that my slope is going to be 10 because $10 per hour. And then we can make an ordered pair because we know that for 3 hours it's going to be $45. Alright? So then I'm just going to plug in my information. I have y minus 45 equals 10 times x minus 3. So I end up with y minus 45 equals 10x minus 30 once I distribute that 10. Okay? So then I'm just going to add 45 to both sides. Whoops, 45. Okay? So I'm going to move back up here. So I end up with y equals 10x plus 15. So now I have my equation in slope-intercept form. So now I can just plug in 8 for x to find out how long or how much it's going to cost to rent the canoe for 8 hours. So I'll just do y equals 10 times 8 plus 15. So y is going to equal 80 plus 15. So y equals $95. So it would cost $95 to rent the canoe for 8 hours. Alright, so we're going to do one more example, and that is going to be when we are given 2 points. So when we are given 2 points, that is going to look like this. So we're given 2 points. So we can just write it as x1 and y1 and x2, y2. Okay, so I will go ahead and do number 13. So I'm going to highlight some of the things in the word problem. So to surf the internet for 25 minutes, so we know it's 25 minutes. So at an internet cafe it costs $7.25. So I would say that that's one of our first points. Okay, so then for 40 minutes it costs $9.80. So now we need to write and solve an equation to find the cost for surfing the web for 1 hour. Okay, so we know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So I'll go ahead and just write that. So we're going to need 60 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to set up my ordered pairs. So I know that for 25 minutes, it's going to cost $7.25. So there's one of my ordered pairs. My other ordered pair, I have 40 and $9.80 because for 40 minutes costs $9.80. So now I need to use my slope formula. So I'm going to do 725 minus 980. So I'll write my slope formula. So slope equals y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. After I use my slope formula, I'm then going to need to use my point slope formula. And we know that our point slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm just going to do 725 minus 980 over 25 minus 40. So then that is going to end up coming out to 0.17, okay? So then I now have my slope, so I'm just going to plug it into my point slope formula with one of these points. So I will just go ahead and use the first one that we have. So we're going to have y minus 725 equals 0.17 times x minus 25. So once I simplify that out, or distribute my 0.17, I'm going to get y minus 725 equals 0.17x, and that's going to be minus 425. So then I end up with y equals 0.17x plus 3. I had to add this to